Hey everybody. So today is Monday, April 3rd. Um the end of Mass Make March kind of got a little hairy for me. And I'll tell you why. So, as you know, my plan was for day 30 and day 31 to do belly bands and fabric flips because I wasn't here earlier and I don't do die cuts or punched elements. And so that was my plan. Well, the 30th, which was Thursday, I got home kind of late. I was exhausted. And so I thought, I will just spend tomorrow, which is the 31st, and I'll do belly bands and I'll do fabric flips. My initial idea for belly bands was to cut up some of more of those paint papers. But then I got to playing with my scraps and I thought, oh, well, maybe I can make some belly bands out of my scrap fabrics along with doing some fabric flips. So I could kind of combine the two on Friday night and just relax and have some time with you guys on Friday night to finish up for Mass Make March. And Mother Nature had a different plan. I live in Arkansas. I live in central Arkansas. And Friday afternoon, about 2 o'clock, 2:30, we had an EF3 tornado come through my little town. It came through the big town of Little Rock, and then it came a little north and hit my little town of Sherwood, and went on to cause further damage across the state. Thankfully, I'm okay. My family is okay. Our properties are okay. But Friday afternoon, I was without power, and I ended up staying the weekend at my mom's, who had generator power, and my power came on late last night. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed, as you can imagine. I'm heartbroken for my little town. It's hard to drive around and see the places that you know. I've lived here all my life, and so it's hard to drive around and see destruction that a tornado causes. So, if any of you guys don't live in the South, you probably see it on the TV, but it's different to see it in person. It's different to experience it. It's different to live in Tornado Valley. Several years ago, a tornado came through literally my backyard, caused a lot of destruction. And from that point on, a couple of years ago, I've had some pretty decent storm anxiety. But Friday's storm came through literally my backyard again. I'm like within walking distance from the main destruction in our town. There's shingles in my yard. There's, insulation in my mom and dad's yard. It's just not fun. So, all that to be said, I did not come here Friday night and relax and create and all that because I was without power. Not because I didn't want to relax. Trust me, I did. But, so that being said, my weekend was a little crazy. I did not get to do belly bands or fabric flips or anything like that. But I will tell you what I did do. Friday night, stressed from the storms, settled down. Saturday, the weather was absolutely beautiful. I was here without power, and I opened up my doors and windows and let that fresh air in, let the springtime come in and the natural light from the outdoors, and I sat and I hand stitched for hours. And I did not hand stitch fabric flips because, that would have made too much sense. But what I did do was hand stitch some fabric clusters with buttons. I think we did clusters back on day 6, and I think I did some paper clusters. But this was what I did Saturday was like, oh, I'll make a couple of fabric clusters with buttons. I actually was playing around in my scrap fabric bin because a friend of mine was coming into town for the weekend and bringing me a box of fabric scraps. So I was like, oh, let me clean out what I got first. Well, so she didn't end up making it because of the storms. But all that to be said, I played around in my fabric scraps. And I laid out... So Thursday night, I did lay out some scraps for fabric flips. So my intentions were there. Honest. But I didn't hand stitch with my fabric flips. What I did was I made 60 some odd fabric clusters with buttons. Out of my scraps, out of my buttons, hand stitched them. Some of them are and I've gone through and sorted them. Some of them are random. Some of them are kind of matching. This was so relaxing to sit in the sunlight and just make little fabric sew buttons on fabric clusters. So all that to be said, these are available on my Etsy shop because here's the funny thing. I don't generally use fabric clusters in my journals. So as I'm making these, I'm having a grand time making these. Obviously, because I just kept making and kept making and kept making. I kept thinking, oh, I guess I'm going to have to figure out how to incorporate these into my journals because I'm making so many. But then I thought, no, you know, I know a lot of people do use them. Here's some purple and blacks. So anyways, I went ahead and just got lost with the thread and the buttons, and that's what I did Saturday during the day in the sunlight, enjoying the fresh air, disassociating from the crazy chaos that my town was in the middle of, and so I did that. So I mass baked some fabric clusters, which was really not in the plans, but I've got a lot here. Also, I told you I pieced out some fabrics for fabric flips, and so when I got home this afternoon, I went ahead and sewed them because it was just a straight line, you know. And I ended up with, I'm going to say I spent a little bit too much time in my fabric scrap box. I had a little bit too much fun. Because this is what I ended up with for fabric flips. I'll just kind of lay them out and you can kind of see, if I'm in frame here. They're totally random, of course. And I'm going to tell you something else that's really funny. I don't use fabric flips in my journals either. So I have a feeling I'm going to put some of these on my Etsy shop. So if you use fabric flips or whatever, you know, you're welcome to check them out. I haven't got these up there yet. The fabric clusters are up there. I worked on those today. But yeah, some of these turned out really pretty. And I guess they are fabric flips, but they're kind of more like a fabric cluster because they are small. And some of them have little pieces. I see fabric flips sometimes that have 3 big pieces of fabric and you have to actually flip to see what's underneath. But my color brain don't let me do that. I need to see a little bit of layering here. It still works as a flip, but you can kind of get a hint of what's going on over there. So yeah, I haven't counted these, but as you can see, I mass made them. Obviously. Yeah, so that was part of my sunlight. My sunlight crafting was kind of sorting through my scraps and seeing what I had and making my little coordinating sets. So I could then easily just come in and sew a little strip. And that's what I did this evening. Sewed a little strip across them to make them flips. And yeah, so I ended up doing fabric flips, which was was on my last day for Mass Make March because my schedule was wonky. I love that one. Anyways, I did not do belly bands, but again, I have so many of those paint pages that I will probably just snip some of them up and call them belly bands, but I'm not stressing about it. I've had too much stress lately, so we're not stressing about that. So yeah, I did make some fabric flips. I was not intentionally planning to do these on camera because my sewing machine is a little loud. But I was going to kind of go over my process of sorting out my colors and matching my colors and all that. So that is what I did for fabric flips. That is what I did for tornado de-stressing. And so I wanted to also kind of show you guys my bucket. When I started Mass Make March 2023, this little challenge that's hosted by Cindy at Studio Lou, I did not have an ephemera stash. I did not, I create my ephemera and my embellishments as I'm making my journal. I don't have a stash. But through this challenge, I now have a stash. I even have it labeled ephemera stash. So, all sorts of goodies in here, and I can just kind of flip through and see what works and, you know, just kind of go from there. So I'm pretty proud of this here. Pretty excited about it. And I've because my space is limited, I've decided that this is going to be my ephemera stash. This box is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 by 7 box. And so my thinking is that if this fills up as I'm creating, then I've got to use this. I've got to go through, I've got to work it into a journal somehow. I'm not going to make a bigger box of ephemera stash is what I'm saying. This is it. This is what's going to be my ephemera stash box in my storage. This is the size that works. And so I've got a little bit of room. I'm not going to store my fabric flips in there. I could, but I'm not going to because, again, I'm probably going to put them on my Etsy shop because I don't normally use them. So, you know, and if I end up using them before I sell them, then that's great. But if not, then they'll be available for others to enjoy. So yeah, that is kind of my Mass Make March finale. I have thoroughly enjoyed this challenge. So grateful that Cindy at Studio Lou put it all together, shared it, told us about it, and we were able to, you know, participate with her, along with her, and build our ephemera stash. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with where I've gotten, and that I completed this challenge. Mother Nature, by God, I completed this challenge. Aside from a couple of days, but that's okay. We have those planned. So, for April, I have 2 custom journals that I'm trying to work on that are due by May 1st. And I have an event coming up the end of April that I would like to build a little bit more inventory for. So the videos that you're going to see in the next little bit are just going to kind of be probably some more create with me videos of me just kind of making mistakes and making journals. And we'll just see what transpires. I will say this. My next project, again, I'm working on 2 different ones that I need to get done, but I'm about to dismantle some Reader's Digest books. And I found, so this is going to be a little thrift haul. I found these at an estate sale. All you guys know that the Reader's Digest are like the perfect size for a little journal. Sometimes you can find the cool covers. Well, I found cool covers times 8. So my plan is to dismantle these and on camera and show you how I secure my spines and get started with these guys. I would like to have these 8 done. Just generalized. I would like to lean more towards vintage with these guys. I would like to have them done by my end of April event, but it's just really going to depend on my timing. Again, because I I'm not going to say I wasted this whole weekend, but this whole weekend was wasted. I had plans to make journals all day Saturday and Sunday, but I didn't have power. And so, yeah, it just didn't work out. So, yeah, April is going to be a little bit of everything, mainly because I don't have a challenge, which is probably a good thing because I don't have the energy right now, the mental capacity to handle an April challenge. So April, I'm just going to kind of free flow it, and I'll jump on here when I can, and we'll go from there. So, thank you for joining me this month for Mass Make March 2023, and I will see you guys soon.